Hey my friends, and welcome back to another TTF Garage Sessions. I'm John Koeshall. Let's get right into it. So as we did in the last video, we talked a little bit about single stick and did a little bit of review. Now we're going to do a little bit with the double stick. Again, in detail, you can see teaching on what I'm going to talk about today back in the previous videos. If you have any questions, if you're not remembering what I'm talking about, if you haven't seen it yet, please go back and find the requisite video that talks about double stick and what I'm talking about, okay? And you can see all the detail about these things. All right, so let's get right into it. So when we're doing double stick, we're trying to build ambidexterity. It's one of the different qualities we're trying to build. So get your stick, get your grips, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by hitting an inward backhand, inward backhand, inward backhand, inward backhand. Right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. Now, the same things that apply to the single stick are going to apply to both sticks when you're doing double stick. So we still want to have accuracy. We still want to have power. We want to be able to put the weapons where they should go when we need to. So that's why we train these things, so that we can have what we're doing actually is we're making a pattern in our neural circuitry, in our brain and in our muscles, reinforcing movement patterns. It's been said that practice makes perfect, which is totally incorrect. A more accurate statement is practice makes permanent. So if you're going to make something permanent, you should want it to be correct and not to be incorrect. So when you get tired, if you keep going and push through, you're teaching your body and you're building neural patterns that will accentuate inaccuracy, problems. You're not going to be making yourself better by pushing through when you're trying to build attributes. If you're working on conditioning, totally different story, because you're trying to work through and get stronger. But when it comes to accuracy, we need to make sure we're being accurate, so we build those qualities in. So when you do this, 45, 45, 45, 45, all four shots hitting the exact same point in space. Very important. Then we also did a high inward and a low backhand. High inward, low backhand. High, low, inward backhand, inward backhand. Okay, those are 4 count motions. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we can also make them 6 count motions. Okay, so when I go inward, backhand, backhand, inward, backhand, backhand, high, low, high, high, low, high, inward, backhand, backhand, inward, backhand, backhand. 6 count motion. I can also reverse that. Inward, low, backhand, high, backhand, low, inward, backhand, backhand, inward, backhand, backhand, inward, backhand, backhand, low, high and low, low, high and low. Again, you should be working these things over footwork patterns. As you see right now, I have been just stepping laterally, but I can also do the same thing on my female triangle footwork, on the male triangle, on the Escala. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, on the lateral triangles, and the lateral on the left side here. You should be working all these things in conjunction with your weapons work. Okay, next we stepped into a category we call Sinawali, which means weaving motion. So now, not only am I going to be using 2 sticks, but I'm not holding one back to the side and then using the other side. Now they're going to start weaving around each other. And so I have to learn how to move the weapon around my body and around another weapon without getting tangled up or hitting myself. All right? So we started on the side with one tucked underneath, and then we started with just 2 counts to get back to the beginning state. 2 counts. 1, 2, and I'm back to where I started. Not 4 counts, that's coming in a minute. Just 2, okay? So the bottom one fires first, slightly behind it comes the top one. Allows the first one to get out of the way, okay? So we did it here, we did it higher, we did it lower, and then straight across the temple, all right? And there are some key pointers in not hitting your own elbow, and you can go back and watch that in a previous video. It's important. If you're hitting yourself, there's a reason why, and you'll go discover it in that video, all right? Then we moved on to 4 count. 4 count Sinawali. I go inward, backhand, backhand, inward, inward, backhand, backhand, inward. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You'll notice when I start, my sticks are tucked, and then as I open, they're not tucked on this side. And then backhand, backhand, and I'm back on my right-hand side. Inward, backhand, backhand, inward. Inward, backhand, backhand, inward, and I'm back on this side. Okay, and then we switch sides, and we have the exact same pattern from the left side. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Inward, backhand, backhand, inward. Inward, backhand, backhand, inward. And I do this again, everybody, on footwork, okay? Now, what if we want to put the left and the right together and we don't want to just switch? Well, we've already learned how to do that 2 count Sinawali and bring them to the opposite tuck. Bring it to the other side. So we are going to put 1.5 of those, so 3 beats will bring us to the opposite side. So what I did to show as an example is inward, backhand, backhand, inward, that's 1. Inward, backhand, backhand, inward, that's 2. Now I'm going to switch sides. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm on the left. Inward, backhand, backhand, inward, that's 1. Inward, backhand, backhand, inward, that's 2. 1, 2, and 3, and I am back again on the right-hand side. Okay, so you can learn to just move your weapons, and you start to move them fluidly and fluently, and they begin to take on a life of their own. Okay, and anywhere in here I can step out and do this kind of, we call abecedario or ABC work. Anywhere in here I can bring these back out. And I'm back doing this again. Okay? Next, we looked at a 6 count Sinawali. 6 count Sinawali, we now tuck it on the same side. So I go 1, 2, 3, tuck it underneath. Inward, backhand, backhand, tuck it underneath. Inward, backhand, backhand, inward, backhand, backhand. So now instead of being 3 beats on one side, 3 on the other, we're going to do 6 beats in a row and take away the beginning and the ending pause. So instead of being 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, pause, we are going to make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I don't want there to be a pause at the beginning and the end. So I immediately fire in my number 1. Looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Now you notice there is no pause in the middle or at the beginning or the end. What I want is to have a constant metronome of motion. Bop, 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 bop. So if somebody would hear the impact of my sticks, if they came in and couldn't see, they would never be able to tell where the beginning and the end of the pattern was. It would be just a constant rhythm. That's what you're looking for. And again, we're looking for this over the footwork, okay? So here's just been a quick recap and a quick look back at some of the things that we've done over the last few weeks, all right? If you have any questions, please reference the videos that are earlier in the series and you'll see me teach these in detail. If you don't have any questions, I'd like for you to start doing these patterns with your double stick over your footwork. And most of my friends and students, I challenge them to do 3 rounds of 5 minutes each. Take your phone, set it for 5 minutes on a countdown timer, and you hit go, put some good music on, and you just start moving on a footwork pattern with a stick pattern. If you need to, scroll down on a piece of paper or on a whiteboard what patterns you're going to do so you can not have to think about it. You can just look at it and see what you want to do, okay? And do 3 rounds of 5 minutes each. It's only 15 minutes. If you take a minute in between, it's 17 minutes. All right, and you can get a lot of work done. And again, the goal here is not only repetition, it's good repetition. You want to be working on getting yourself at a higher level of accuracy, a higher level of ease as you're moving, so you're not having to think about it or struggle. And my friends, I promise you, the more you do this, the easier it will become. The more you will feel comfortable and at home moving a weapon around each other and around your body. All right? This is very important to understand and be able to do before we get into applications of how this works under stress. Okay? Get to work, my friends. If you haven't seen it, or if you are falling behind, or you feel like I lost you a little bit, please go back and look at the other videos in this series, and you will see in-depth teaching on all of these things, okay? Take the time. Don't be somebody who's gluttonous, just trying to eat more information. Give me something new, give me something new. All right, it does you no good to see volumes of new patterns and new things if you've never done it and integrated it into yourself. If you've never practiced it and allowed it to change your body, it's done you no good, all right? Don't be deceived. That's not how it works. You have to actually do something with it for it to be a benefit to you, all right? Unless you're just really enjoying watching me move out here with some sticks, all right? Then that's cool too. Okay? Hey, my name is John Koeshall. You've been watching Through the Fire Garage Sessions. Thanks again for tuning in. New videos every Tuesday and Thursday night in North America. In Southeast Asia, where I'm at, that's Wednesday and Friday morning. And if you know anybody this would be interesting to, feel free to recommend them to watch it or send them a link and let them see what we're doing, okay? And if you'd go ahead and subscribe to my channel and like this video, I'd appreciate it very much. Thanks, guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.